What's interesting, Thanksgiving and other days during this COVID crisis, and then added, exacerbated by the political rancor. I have had conversations with people, and even my wife, talking about what a terrible year, and oh my gosh, this. And then I had to slow myself down and slow her down and say, wait a minute, we're sitting at Reynolds. We're outside in this beautiful environment we have. And I think a lot of people have forgotten to sort of reflect on, yes, 2020 has been quite a challenging year, but there are some blessings.
Absolutely. As everybody else, I mean, I've referred to it as the trash heap of 2020, and just thrown another thing on the trash heap of 2020, because it's been a hard year. I mean, I'm not, I don't want to in any way diminish 2020. I've known people who that COVID has impacted their families, either through death or through just the ramifications of the illness. And so all those who've suffered, all the thousands of folks, millions of people who've been infected, it's been a really rough year. I think 2020 is going to be one of those marker years. Maybe as significant as the Depression of the 1930s, maybe as significant as one of the wars that we've been in. I think 2020, how we come out of it is going to be an interesting piece kind of going into it. So, what are grateful things about 2020? I know for myself, number one, it has been a wonderful year to be able to just reflect and to actually take the time to reflect and to not be so consumed by going so much. I know for me, not being on the road as much as I normally would be on the road really has given me a whole lot of hours that I had just didn't take into account that I was losing while driving and commuting to different places. And so just kind of being off the road as much as has been really a gift in a lot of ways. We have been very fortunate in my family that, my son's gotten a job even in this tough economy, but that his profession, his job continues to move forward. So things have continued to move in some directions on a personal level. But I think on a collective level, this really was a chance to stop and do some evaluation of what's important and not important. And we need to do that on occasion. When we do not do that, we kind of go down paths that we don't necessarily want to go down. And so I think there's going to be a lot of conversation of what was pre-2020 and what was post-2020. And hopefully we'll be able to really say some wonderful post-2020 shifts that occurred that make a huge difference.
And even within my own family, but talking to other people, I think another positive is suddenly I hear more, not only conversation about how we got to help feed the people and help people outside the gates or whatever, they're in trouble, but they're actually getting off their keisters and doing it, if anything, to have something to do, but at least has increased that awareness that, hey, you know what? So what, I can't go to spend a couple $100s at a restaurant. Maybe that money is better used to feed somebody that's not sure where they're going to get their next meal.
Yeah, so I think priorities have shifted. Another thing I think is important is, this summer, you used to hear the forecast of how bad the weather was in Atlanta during the summer. We had none of the smog dynamics and pollution dynamics that we normally have. I know for me, allergies have been almost non-existent compared to what I've had to deal with in previous years. Our fall looked like a beautiful fall. Our spring looked like a beautiful spring. And I'm not sure that it wasn't from us just kind of slowing down and not being, again, on the road as much as we all are. So I don't think it's just us individually. There are some blessings for us to say individually, but I think collectively we've seen some shifts. And again, we're going to have to determine as we come out of this, are we going to keep those gifts going, or are we going to go back to former bad habits that get us back into trouble?
And as you started with, not to minimize the tragic consequences of it, but for me, all the more reason to try to, at the moment, keeping my health and other fortunate aspects coming upon me, to accentuate that, to help those that aren't doing as well.
Correct.
Yeah.